Well, hello there, my name is Vladimir, welcome to my home studio. This is the second episode of my Jazzmaster build project. If you're not familiar with this project yet, check out the link below in the description. There's a playlist of the whole Jazzmaster thing. There's two videos, one where I launched the whole project and the second one which is the kind of first build diary. I recommend for you to check out at least the build diary first, so you'll see where we got started the first time, and then you can jump back to this video and see how we got to this point. I think you get the idea. So at the end of the previous video we ended up in the part where I filled all of the cavities of the guitar body with epoxy, and that dried off for quite a long time before I had time to actually do anything. My guitar building courses are every 4 weeks or so, so there's plenty of time in between to do some of the stuff that I'm able to do at home. I think a week or so before the Saturday when the guitar building course was, I started sanding the excess epoxy away, and it took quite a lot of time actually. The glue is difficult to detach and I don't have access to any power tools to do that really. The only thing I did was buying this kind of rotating thing where I attached some sandpaper for my hand drill, and that helped a bit, but now I'm noticing that the battery on my drill is probably wasted and I need to get a new one, so I hand sanded most of it and that took a lot of time, but the end result was pretty decent. And in the first picture you see where I kind of started my Saturday building course from. Basically it's a slab of wood that has shape of a Jazzmaster and some holes in it, and that's about it. The first thing I did at the guitar building course was taking a handheld router, and I routed all of the pickup cavities, the cavity for electronics and the neck pocket as well. And this process took a while because the blades that we had available for the top mounted router were a bit limited, so I had to kind of go a few millimeters deeper every time. And as you can see, there's a bunch of sawdust and stuff like that, and I kind of needed to clean everything every now and then to be able to see my progress. If we take a look at the top camera right now, you can see that there's a small mistake that happened over there, and because there wasn't like a proper guide here, there's some kind of inconsistencies here. Somehow my cavity template failed me just a little bit over here. I'm not sure what happened, but all of this will be under pickguard anyway, and the end result does look pretty neat, so that's just fine. I'm extremely happy that the depth of the neck pocket is exactly 16 millimeters, which was what I was going for, so that's really good. The neck should be properly in place because of that. Then, as you can also see, all of the edges of this body are nice and round, and for that I was using a table router with a very special blade that had this kind of U angle almost. I hope you can see that in the picture. And again, the table router is something I'm a bit scared to use. You really need to be aware of where you position your hands, and if you look at the top camera, like if the blade is there, it's really kind of tempting to try to kind of grab the body and rotate it against the blade like this, and then you suddenly realize that you're almost grabbing next to the blade when you want to turn the guitar body, and that's really dangerous. So yeah, again, I was a bit nervous, but I made it out just fine. We used the kind of most rounding blade that was available for lack of a better term, and I think, let me see, where would that be? Well, I hope the top camera focuses on this. I should have the autofocus on. As you can see here, because of how the wood grain goes, the router sometimes likes to kind of damage the wood a little bit in some of the places, and actually on this side you can't see that anymore because everything has been sanded, but it made quite bad damage actually, and I went to a belt sander, kind of changed the shape a little bit and routed it again, and now it's just fine. You can actually see a little bit of marks left there still. So the end result is that this kind of arch isn't like 100% precise Jazzmaster, but nobody's going to notice that or care about that, so it's just fine. I'm just happy that there won't be like crazy amount of sanding and fixing to do on this side. After making the bevels or rounded edges on the guitar body, I borrowed a neck plate from my classmate because most of the parts for the guitar haven't arrived yet. I have some issues with my order. Well, as of shooting this video, everything is on its way to my place already, but when the coast happened last Saturday from when I'm shooting now, I didn't have most of the hardware with me yet, so I borrowed a neck plate and did some measuring and drilled the holes for the neck to be ready, which is nice. By the way, I should have all of the parts when the course resumes. I think it's 2.5 weeks from when shooting this video, and by that time, yeah, I think I should have all of the hardware. We'll talk about that just a bit later. After drilling the holes for the neck, I went to the belt sander, and by the way, shout out to my brother who was helping me figuring out all of the names of the tools and stuff. He's a professional translator, so I'm super happy to have his services available for me whenever I need to. But yeah, I went to the belt sander and started shaping this, I hope this camera will pick it up, this kind of tummy cut shape. And I really did that just by feel, which is kind of nice, but also a bit kind of nerve-wracking, because if I go way kind of overboard over here, there's nothing I can do about it and it will look ugly. But I managed to do it pretty nicely. There's a little bit of leveling to be done so the shape feels a bit more even, but I think it looks as it's supposed to look and feels as it's supposed to feel. So that's nice. I like how the line here kind of worked out. Again, some more sanding to do, but it's pretty much there. Just need to level everything out. There's a small bump here that you can feel actually. Then the same thing happened to this kind of, I think it's called arm cut or armrest cut, and basically we drew a line over here like, and then use the kind of flatter side of the belt sander and just you kind of just move this side against the belt sander and have a slight angle over here and work on that. As you can see, while doing that, some of the wood decided to come out, but I'm going to fill this with epoxy glue again, and I think it will be just fine. And we've already tried that a little bit, and if you sand this with a fine grain sandpaper, you can actually see through it. So I think the end result will be as I want it, so you will be able to see kind of inside of the guitar a little bit, and I think that will be really cool. But yeah, some epoxy glue, and then maybe I'll actually use some super glue for these smaller holes, because the epoxy glue isn't as liquid as I'm hoping it would be, and the super glue is, as the name suggests, it's super quick to dry, so in a few minutes after applying it you can actually sand it and level it, and if there's something left to fill you can repeat the process really quickly, so that's nice. But yeah, overall now this feels more like an actual guitar body. You can see all of the kind of carvings and shapes and everything. It feels super ergonomic now, and it just feels more like a real guitar body instead of a slab of wood with some holes in it. And I don't know, it's just something, having something that's more reminiscent of a guitar made me really excited about the project, or let's say much more excited. And I can't wait for the next time already, and I'm actually happy that there's at least something I can do. I can kind of patch this up and check out all of the other cavities as well. They should be pretty even actually, but I might check them a second time just in case. And yeah, there's some marks left here and there. I need to do a lot of sanding before finish, and as you can see there's a lot of marks here, but I need to do proper sanding before I start painting anything, but it's not that time just yet anyway. At the guitar building course we did this kind of group order, so a bunch of us ordered from the same store and got a nice discount. First of all, I got the Schaller security locks. These are the old model, and the reason I got these is, first of all, the new Schallers are apparently pretty bad. They use stupid screw system, check out my buddy Dave's aka Cherakong Powers video on those. I'll put a link in the description. They just made some weird design decisions. The second reason was that my other two electrics have the same strap locks, and that means all of my straps are interchangeable, and there's been few times where that has been super useful. I think one of my straps broke once and then I just could take that from the another guitar, and that was really cool. So I just wanted all of them to be the same strap lock wise, and yeah, I think you get the idea, just made sense. Then I got some, I don't know, knob heads for the controls. I just really wanted to get this look, this white plus the silver in the middle. I like how they look. This plasticky thing is actually side dots. I try not to drop this too much. Basically, I will drill small holes on the side of the neck, glue this in, cut it, and then move on to the next one, and then sand them to level them with the neck itself. Because I'm going for a maple neck, like fully maple neck, maple fretboard, I wanted them in black so I can see them properly. Then I got some high quality Amazon pots. These are 500k, and I know that some of the Jazzmaster use, I think, 1 meg volume pot at least, but my buddy Mikko explained the whole issue with that really well in our upgrading Squier Jazzmaster video. If you are interested in that video, please check the link in the description to that as well. And the last thing I got were these mother of pearl black dots for the fretboard. I'm becoming a fan of these kind of small dots on the fretboard. I don't know why, just I think I'd rather see more wood on the fretboard than plastic. And I think these will look just really cool on a maple fretboard. These are kind of black pearl colors, I think. Speaking of hardware, all of my devices are beeping when shooting this video because my Thormon order just left a little while ago. And some of the highlights from there, first of all, I gave a lot of thought about the whole bridge solution, and I decided I'm not going for a traditional Jazzmaster bridge. Instead, I'm going for this kind of Guldo, I don't know how to pronounce that, Guldo roller bridge. And I'm pairing that with the Duesenberg Diamond Deluxe Tremola, the short version, and that looks like this. And I think this solution will be kind of more user-friendly and aware of some of the issues the Jazzmaster bridge has. I like the fact that you can detach the tremolo arm easily, and the fact also that you don't really need to do that. Duesenberg themselves say that it's fine, you can just put it in the gig bag and it will be completely fine. I think that will probably be a more stable solution than getting a €30 Jazzmaster bridge instead. I'm aware that there are some other Jazzmaster bridge solutions as well, but the Mastery bridge, I think it's called, is just crazy expensive. And I just didn't feel I really should get that, because this is probably as good a solution and just much cheaper. Some other things, I got the Fender locking tuners in chrome. A lot of people gave those really good reviews, so I thought, why not? They were pretty decently priced, definitely cheaper than many others. My two other guitars don't have locking tuners, but because this will be a guitar with a tremolo and I actually plan to use that tremolo, I thought maybe locking tuners will be one of the things that will help with the tuning stability. For the pickups, I ordered the Fender Jazzmaster Pure Vintage, however it's named, set. The same set we ended up putting on Mikko's guitar in the Modifying Squier Jazzmaster video. I just felt those pickups sounded really good, and especially they sounded the way I kind of imagined Jazzmaster sounding in my head. So it felt a good place to start. Maybe I'll upgrade them at some point, but they seemed like pickups that will get me started really well. The rest of the order was kind of maybe a bit boring, just parts basically. 2 pickguard templates, one for this and the other one for my telly. Actually, I plan to do a kind of alternate pickguard for that. Then just some minor parts or small parts like screws, string trees and stuff like that. Stuff that's not like super exciting, but you need those to have a playable guitar basically. And that concludes this second episode of the Jazzmaster Diary. You need to fill this thing with epoxy glue and sand it down, and the next guitar building course is in less than 3 weeks, which is really fun and exciting. As always, if you found this video interesting or helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell as well, so you'll be informed when a new video is out. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. I shall see you next time.